All right. What's up, Fernanda? How are you?
Everything's good. How about you?
I'm doing good. We're starting to thaw out here in Denver. Well, just make me jealous. What's the temperature down there in Mexico right now?
I mean, actually, here for us right now, it's cold. It's around 20 degrees, 22 degrees. But it does
Celsius, so
look,
that's
yeah,
60.
what's I think around, yeah, but it's warm. It's just cold for us. But in my defense, it's pretty windy. So it feels like, it's chilly.
You're suffering. 60 is a great temperature because it's like you can wear a sweater and shorts at the same time. It's perfect. I love
Y-
it.
Not for me. I can wear shorts with weather. What made
You
me
you got a
thinking, like,
puffy.
I'm wearing like leggings and then like the sweater. It's nice. I can handle the weather like this.
Nice. One day I'll winter in Mexico. All right. Before we dive in, I know you have questions prepared, but before we start riffing on that a little bit, I wanted to talk about this major product drop from OpenAI today. So, OpenAI launched Operator, and Operator is AI agents basically available for everybody at the pro level. So, most folks, if you're like me, you've got a OpenAI subscription. It's $20 a month. Great value. And they released the pro, and it was hard to understand, like, what am I going to do for $200 a month as a consumer? And apparently this is going to be kind of their flagship product. So Operator is now available for $200 a month. So what this does is it okay, what it can actually do is book travel, it can book restaurants, it can order groceries, food delivery from like DoorDash or Instacart. It fills out forms automatically. You can shop across multiple sites. So you could say like, "Hey, I want the Nike hat, find the best price." It'll go find the best price. It can run multiple tasks at once. It remembers all your preferences. So basically, it's operating your computer independently without you, which is pretty crazy. Now, it's got a couple of limitations. So it doesn't touch payments or login credentials. You have to do that independently. So it's kind of a mix really of an AI tool plus human interaction. And right now, a lot of that's coming through the keyboard. But I think what we'll see is more and more of this will be kind of voice automated and there'll be passwords and things like that. Right now, it's getting stuck kind of in complex interfaces and websites. It fails all the CAPTCHAs so far. It's got usage limits on the daily. So as how much you can possibly use it is still kind of up for debate. And in Europe, it's going to take a while for them to launch. So very interesting use cases in because I don't know if you're like me, but booking travel is the worst thing in the world. Like I like trying to find a flight with the times and the calendars and then a hotel. Like I really loathe that whole process. So even if it got, I don't know if it's worth $200 a month, but if it got really good at that, I think we're going to see like a massive shift in the way people are at least just booking travel and doing some of their online ordering, which also might spurn opportunities because right now, Amazon might be the de facto ordering for goods, but that's largely just because it's convenient to go to one place and then search within that directory what's the best price. But, if I'm saying like, "Hey, I want black yoga leggings," it doesn't necessarily have to be on Amazon. It might be where I start, but if it can just take that task and then start updating in real time, again, humongous opportunity for OpenAI. So, there was a couple of things that I thought were really interesting about this launch. One, a couple of the guys on the panel next to Sam Altman had like really intense vocal fry, which was kind of irritating to me. That's neither here nor there, but it's like it's hard to listen to somebody who's close talking on a microphone with that deep of vocal fry, you know?
Yeah.
But that's a personal preference. But also, it's using GPT-4o Mini, and it's using vision to understand the websites. So it's not it's actually looking at the screen as opposed to like mining the code structure behind it. It learns from you as you're completing tasks. It learns how to navigate particular websites. They've already partnered with DoorDash, Uber. They've already partnered with Instacart, so these apps are kind of built in, and then they have APIs coming soon for other people to come on board. So this also kind of raises the question of like we have a new service vertical that's really optimization for large language models. And I've been looking at a couple of tools. I'll put the tools in the notes of this show of two different techniques that people are trying to standardize in the way that like you have a robot text that is scanned through Google so you can optimize for search. They're trying to standardize some of that text for large language models. So basically encouraging large language models to scan your content online. So, this world is just evolving so quickly. It's really interesting to see. I've seen several companies pop up that want to build these large language agents and use like independent data so you can kind of silo some of the security. But ultimately, I think, you know, every single tool is now going to use AI's model. They're kind of setting the standard right now for a whole new category of product, which is just kind of extraordinary to see it on its first day of birth. It's 1 day old. So, Fernanda, how are you feeling about AI right now?
I love it. I think it's a very useful tool. And for the whole first part that you said about this new tool that just launched, it sounds like an amazing wife. Just
It's
built-in technology, like it books
You said
trips.
amazing wife?
Yes, amazing wife, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It
Oh,
may be like
totally.
very sexist, but I mean, it's kind of true. It sounds like an amazing wife. Like she books the vacations, she does the groceries, she looks for the best price. Now we have
Yeah.
AI to help us do that. It's amazing.
I don't think it's sexist at all, largely because my wife said that a long time ago. She's like, I need a wife. It's like, I know, but we all have the
Yeah, wives
model of
with
like the
dreams.
night. We need the 1950s wife, you know, that just everything was perfect at all times. You're like, okay. So maybe
Yeah,
we're getting close to that, in different ways where, I think one thing that's kind of maybe frustrating for me right now is having like multiple logins on all kinds of different tools and every single thing has an app and every single thing have to log in. Like if we really get accustomed to like having these agents where you log in once and then it's accessing all your other tools and bringing it into one user interface that's just clean and like not frustrating. I mean, that seems like a big net positive,
it is. I
you
mean,
know?
it's great to have like just one place to log in, but also it's kind of scary. Like if you lose that one password, imagine you lose everything, right?
No, I know.
But
Yeah.
it's
It's
great at
so
the
true.
same time.
Yeah. It's very
Sure.
interesting, just the products are going to shift in dramatic ways all over the place. In other news, like Google has really upgraded their generative AI for like writing assist. I don't know if you saw that in your emails with Google Workspace, where it's like, hey, let me write this for you. And you're like, oh,
Yes.
okay. And it's correcting the grammar in certain situations. So, I've had a Grammarly subscription for like 3 years and I canceled it, because I was like, well, Google's already doing the exact same thing. And, I tested it and I was like, this is just as good as Grammarly. So what do I need that subscription for? So, when we had the inauguration of President Trump this week, and you see all the tech guy, Zuckerberg, Elon, Bezos, all of them, Sergey, right there in the front row, these guys, maybe the biggest argument against AI is that it's so expensive to do it in macro. We're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars that these guys have really built a moat that, a scrappy startup can't necessarily compete against somebody with that kind of financing. So now they're all cozied up to the federal government to further that moat. And if I'm being totally frank and honest, one thing that really bothers me about Sam Altman is he uses all these fear tactics to tell people like, dude, you should be really scared of AI for this reason and that reason. But largely it's just because he's trying to get the regulatory bodies to protect his competitive advantage, So, and that's disappointing, that kind of
Yes.
scare rhetoric. I believe there is probably like, some red flags here. We should walk this tenderly, but also not at the expense of competition. Like, let's make sure that Sam Altman doesn't get every single check from the federal government, including the $500 billion endowment that they're talking about. So we will see, Fernanda.
We will see. Let's find out.
We will see. All right. What question you got on tap today?
So today's question is a very interesting one. And it is, what is one thing you do every day that most people wouldn't expect from you?
Interesting. Well, let's see some of the things that I do every day. You know, it's funny. I just go to all my guilty pleasures and like, I'm not doing some confession right now. I want to do something positive.
Well, I mean, at some point we did mention we were going to steal the tea on this session. So
That's true. Maybe it's time for confession. I would say,
maybe.
I would say on average, I'm probably drinking a bottle of wine a night. You know,
Sounds
but
very healthy.
unfortunately, but I would say, people would probably expect that from me. How about you? Well, I'm thinking of something better than that. What would somebody not expect from you on a daily basis?
I don't know. I'm thinking about it. It's hard. Because I think I'm like, in my perception of myself, I'm like a very open book. So I don't know what of the things that I do people wouldn't expect from me. Probably that I sing every day. Like I play my ukulele. So
Do
I
you
get to
really?
sing like every day. Yeah.
Nice. I love that. You got a favorite tune you're working on, or are you writing your own tunes?
No, I just like I like a song and then I'll go on these pages. I don't even know anything about music. I just like singing and like following the things. I have no idea of anything about music. I just follow like the images and I play music. I try to play
What do you
music.
mean? What do you mean you follow the images?
Yeah, like there's like the tabs. I don't even know like the name of the chords or anything. I just follow the tab, but with a small image that shows you like where you should be placing your fingers. And then as
Yeah.
for the rhythm, I take it like from the song, from listening to the song. I'll like play the song. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know much about music. It's kind of a hobby and it like gets my mind like I need to be concentrated on that. And that's like my little meditation kind of thing where I focus on it because otherwise I can't. I can't do it.
I love it. Yeah, I remember Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam did a whole ukulele album. I don't know if you've heard that, or if you know Is. You Is had that big hit where it was a cover of What a Wonderful World and Somewhere Over the Rainbow, where it's just him singing with a ukulele. Have you heard that song?
I'm not sure. I don't think so. I'm gonna look and roll.
I'll send it to you. It's one of the most shockingly beautiful and haunting songs I've ever heard in my life. And I remember very specifically the first time I heard it. It was Christmas Eve, and it's probably in 2004. And I have the radio on. There's this great radio station in Denver called KUVO, absolutely legendary jazz station. And late at night, they do like kind of this jazz from the edge. And they're like, we're gonna play this song. It's from Brother Is. And I'm sitting there and I'm doing a puzzle on Christmas Eve and they play that song and I was like, yo, what is that? Like it stopped me and I remember it. And then I think probably 10 years later, it got used in a movie soundtrack and now it's like a big song. You'll definitely have heard it before, but it's so
Probably,
incredibly
yeah.
beautiful. Yeah. And it's like, the ukulele just as an accompanying instrument is so perfect for the human voice because they match each other so well.
And it's
It's
so easy
great.
to play, like I think everyone who is planning to get like into music, even if you don't know anything about music, you can just go ahead and play with it. Like I think with the ukulele, it's like the word actually makes sense. You can play the ukulele, you get to play with it to have fun. Because you don't really have to know how to play it. Like you just hang with it. I don't think it's the same with every instrument, but like the ukulele is very friendly.
It's the best. It's the best. That's a great one. Ukulele. Okay. I'm trying to think what else I do that people might not expect. I'm a big yoga guy. I try and do that every day. I think maybe my new one is is pickling and sauces. You know, we talk a lot about food, and because we both
Yeah,
like
me
to
too.
cook.
Yes.
Oh, I should give an update. I went and got some very delicious cardamom and put it in my coffee powder. So I got a cardamom, cinnamon, chocolate powder. I put a little bit of clove in there. It's amazing. So
Right?
good. Yeah.
I'm glad you liked it.
So so what have you been doing on a daily basis? Well, I guess it's a weekly basis. Is, big produce guy. So pickling is great because it preserves stuff longer. And so do sauces. So I'm always doing a different hot sauce, an orange one, a green one, or red one. There's always a hot sauce that I made. I tried one with curry. I think we talked about that. And then I got a juicer. So at the end of the week, if the produce is like, it doesn't look so great to eat, that those apples and the carrots, maybe they're a little bit old, throw that in a juicer. Now you got a delicious juice with everything that's left in the fridge. But now the next step is actually the pickling. So now I need to have a flash pickled onion, cucumbers for pickles, and jalapenos at all times. That's just kind of a medley and kind of like this delicious kind of vinegary salad that you can add to absolutely every single dish every week. So that's the new standard, is that you got to have your weekly hot sauce, you got to have your weekly juice, and then you have to have your weekly pickled onions, cucumbers, and jalapenos. That's law.
That sounds so delicious. And do you only pickle or have you started fermenting? Because I think that's like the transition. People who start pickling, then they transition to fermenting.
I tried fermenting, and particularly because the sriracha hot sauce,
Yeah.
I
And the
got into
shortage
that,
there
and that
was?
yeah, the horrible worldwide shortage. Well, when we were going through that as, suffering through that, I was like, "I gotta make my own." So I started making my own and found some recipes. Well, the sriracha, you want to let ferment for at least a couple of weeks. So I started doing that, and it adds kind of like the funky tang to it. But then I was talking to somebody and they're like, dude, you're going to catch botulism, man. You can't be doing that. That's like, but so I got scared. But I think you're right. I think fermenting is like the next step.
Yeah, I definitely think, and it's something like so natural that I'm not sure where did we stop doing it. I remember my grandmother used to make her own like pineapple vinegar, and she would use that like for dressings, for like to clean the house, for everything. And here I'm sure in every country we have, but especially here in Mexico, we have so much fermented stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's so much drinks, especially there's one that is called tepache. It's not very famous, but it's from where I'm from Guadalajara. And it's just like pineapple juice with piloncillo, which is like unrefined sugar. It's fermented and it's delicious. And it has like so
Ooh,
many benefits for your health. There's also another one called tejuino, which is corn masa fermented with sugar as well. And it's great. It's so delicious.
really? Okay. The pineapple one, is that served as like a sauce or?
No, you just like drink it straight. Like if it was like fresh water, like agua fresca, but instead of it, you drink like your tepache. When you're having taquitos for dinner, you can have like one small bottle of tepache.
Okay. Yeah. I'm going to need some recipes here. I need to understand this because
Absolutely.
if I was thinking to myself when I was drinking pineapple juice that this should be sweeter, we should add some sugar to this pineapple juice. That sounds unbelievable.
It's amazing. I'm
Nice.
pretty sure you're gonna enjoy it.
Cool. Yeah, that's cool. Anything else stick out for you of something that's unexpected that you do on a daily basis?
Oh, I know one. I know that I read my tarot cards every day.
Pull a card. Do you do the full deck or you just pull individual cards?
I ask questions like with the whole deck and like I answer the question. I actually have like my tarot just over here in my desk. It's like
Nice.
one of my basics for every day.
Love it. Cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I do have a sitting meditation practice on a daily basis. I do at least 15 minutes a day. But also I think probably that's not unexpected because I never shut up about it. So
I didn't expect that from you. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
I
very good.
know. I'm realizing I'm kind of predictable. You know, if you could just take a snapshot of my calendar and you know exactly what I'm doing. I mean, I have been doing I'm doing a weight loss challenge with my buddy Vince. So I text him in the morning with the scale and then the evening my daily macros. That's kind of new, but you know, again, it's January, everybody's doing that. So, you know, what are you gonna do?
That's unexpected. I mean, you did say you had like some weight loss goals for the year, but we've never spoken about like macros and weighting and stuff like that before. So that's a new one.
Yeah. It's been frustrating. I've lost some weight. It's been good, but I have had weak moments. You know, there was a incident with some croissants and some cherry danishes. You know, I don't feel good about that, but it tasted great, you
It
know?
did. And I mean, it's for the
It's
long
just
term, you know? I always like, I'm sure I mention these like every time we talk, but it's all about balance. Like, there is no point in eating like extremely clean if you're gonna eat like extremely clean for a month and then you're gonna go back to your like old habits. So it's like
yeah,
once, twice a week, you can like go a little bit crazy. Like, and if you do it with like, if you measure it within like your regular time, probably your goals are going to take a little bit longer than you would like them to do, but it's all about patience and to be like constant with your goals. Probably that rhythm fits your macros. And instead of, I don't know, a month and a half that you were expecting to be losing those X amount of pounds, probably it'll take 3 months, but you enjoy
yeah.
the process a lot more. So I don't know. I think it's about like a little bit of everything.
I'm going with that, Fernanda. That makes me feel a lot better than the beating myself up because a cherry Danish.
I
Yeah,
mean, who
you gotta go
refuses
with
a
that
cherry
sometimes.
Danish? Yeah.
It's incredible. All right, let's leave it there. Fernanda, thanks so much. Great talking to you as always.
Great talking to you as well.
If you're someone who's always trying to level up, whether it's your health, your career, or just life in general, you have to check out the Lift newsletter. This is my personal newsletter where I share stories, insights, and practical tips that are all about creating a lift in your life. We're talking about how to crush it in business, how to stay sharp mentally and physically, and find a little balance along the way. Every edition is packed with quick reads, actionable advice, and a little humor along the way. It's all designed to give you value up front and never waste your time. So head over to my website, it's ryanestis.info, click the newsletter, and subscribe today. It's free, it's fun, and who knows, maybe this is the lift you've been looking for. ryanestis.info. Now let's get back to the podcast.